Okay, thanks guys. Good morning to all of our ACPME members and thanks for taking the time to join us this morning. I'm delighted to join Les and Mike from Antalis today, who are going to be running through some exciting products for their supplier showcase. So morning guys.
Morning.
Morning.
First things first, thanks to you both and to Antalis for continuing to support the organisation. It's support from companies like yourselves that's really keeping us going at the moment, so thanks for that. It's a shame we're still virtual. We'd like to see you in person for a coffee, but yeah, we're still virtual at the moment. But hopefully this is good for you guys and good for everyone in attendance. We started to use some of the products you guys are demonstrating today at Cardiff Met. I think it's a great time to look at these products. And we're anticipating quite a big change to the way people work. When they do come back to campus, we're seeing bookable shared spaces, quite a lot of building work to support that. And I think the products today are really great for supporting that. And I think the main thing is that they give our members another way of generating income without any massive expense. I think you don't need any big machines or any extra kit or anything. You just need to be brave and just give it a go, really. So yeah, good stuff. I think we're quite tight on time. I know you guys got a lot to get through. So the only other thing I'll say is we've got a Q&A button at the bottom of this presentation. So if anyone's got any questions, just pop them in there and we'll pick them up as we go, and we'll allocate a little bit of time at the end where we'll all pop back on camera and pick any of those questions up. So also, I should mention that this is being recorded, and an email to anyone who has registered will go out with a link to that recording. And I think you guys are looking at putting it on YouTube as well. So for anyone that can't make it, that'll be available. So that's it from me. Thanks, guys. It's over to you.
Okay, just jump in there before we hand over to Mike. Welcome everybody, to all those that know me. I'm still here. This is absolutely great that we're actually being able to support you yet again. And as Richard said, virtually as opposed to actually being with you. For those that have known me for many years, I've just celebrated my 66th birthday. Unfortunately, not in the company of all of you. With further ado, I'm going to hand you over to Mike for Mike to give us the latest on our Coala range. Over to you, Mike.
That's great. Thank you, Les. Let me just share my screen. Okay, can I just quickly check, Les, you can see my slides?
Not yet, Mike.
No. You see my slides now, Les?
No, not yet. Just go back to what we were doing before.
Sorry.
Okay.
Let's click on this.
Yeah.
See my slides now.
Yeah, if you go on to full screen now, that's great.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. Thanks for having me here today. I'm very appreciative. Been doing quite a lot of work with Richard and Gethin on some of these products. I particularly picked these two products that I'm going to be discussing with you today because they really should offer or interest the education market, and specifically those with the skills to apply these sort of products, which of course is the print units. I do believe in what has been an extremely difficult time that diversity is what all of our businesses need. And it makes us useful and viable and offers more strings to our bow. So let me carry on with the first of the products. So product called Coala Coversafe. What is it? Coala Coversafe is a clear self-adhesive laminate. It's a protective film. It can be easily applied to flat surfaces and semi-curved surfaces. So its main job in life is to offer a level of protection, particularly against viruses. It was developed 5 years ago by a company called Pelot in conjunction with the French National Centre for Scientific Research. So it's got a good background. It has antimicrobial properties, and originally it was developed to have properties to protect against things such as E. coli, for instance. and it's well documented and well tested to protect against all of those sort of things. What became clear when, unfortunately, COVID-19 came out was that it also had properties to protect against viruses as well. So it offers continuous protection against viruses, bacteria, yeasts, and molds. And it is, in fact, the only antimicrobial film tested to protect against SARS-CoV-2 responsible for COVID-19. There are a lot of films out there of this type which offer generic recommendations that they will offer protection, but they're not tested in any sense. This one has been tested at university level, and it's been given an ISO standard, an international standard as well. So we have lots of test certificates and test reports on how it does protect against SARS-CoV-2. So its main advantages is that it's it has rapid action. So the moment you put it down, it starts to work for you. It's a continuous action, and it builds up that level of protection. So we view this product, this protective film, as an additional layer of protection, for your working environments. Over 1 hour, it's built up a protection of 96%. So it's effectively killing anything that touches it progressively as time goes by. Within 24 hours, it will have killed any virus whatsoever, almost completely. So it has this continuous cleaning action, and it's validated for at least 4 years of continuous use. The actual surface itself will not degrade. It will actually continue much longer than that, but the material that it's actually embedded into might degrade over time. It's safe for skin and direct food contact, which is very important. If you're going to put this film down in a cafeteria, for instance, it's one of the few films that is direct food contact safe. It's discreet, as I say, it's a clear film, it has a slight matte finish to it. It's very easy to install, and there's installation videos that we'll come to, and I know Richard and Gethin will no doubt comment on their findings as well. And indeed, in one of the videos, you've got a time lapse of one of the installations that Richard and Gethin did. It will come off just as easily as it will go on, because it has minimal residue, and it can be cleaned with common cleaning agents. So you've got this one layer of ongoing protective surface, and then you can progressively clean it with other cleaning agents if you so wish to do. So what are its applications? Its applications are quite myriad, really. Desks, tables, obviously work surfaces. You can see some images there, of familiar work surfaces within a university or college environment. Certainly these sort of surfaces where there's going to be a lot of common touch points. Particularly tables, flat surfaces, particularly door handles, things like that. Some things that you just cannot get away from touching and having other people touch at the same time. And that, of course, is where the danger is in actually transferring the virus. It will also go on to capacitive screens as well, which is a common question that we get asked. So again, there's a picture in a later slide of exactly that, which Cardiff Met have actually put on. Some of the environments that this goes on to: bars, restaurants, or the hospitality sector, shops, so retail, of course, pretty much any sector you can think of, public transport, accommodation, think of students and their accommodation, for instance, obviously healthcare, and universities and colleges, last but not least. I'm just going to play a short video of what this product is about. We have had a few little issues about audio, but there is a dialogue at the bottom there that you can follow as well.
Over the last few months, the disinfection of your reception areas has become both a necessity and a constraint. It's a task that needs to be replicated after each contact, time-consuming, polluting, and above all, very costly. And what if nobody had to manage this anymore? It's now possible thanks to Coversafe, an antimicrobial adhesive film that is unique in the world. Its permanent action eliminates more than 99% of viruses and bacteria. Coversafe can be easily applied to all kinds of surfaces. It is completely safe for both humans and the environment and suitable for all places welcoming the public. Based on 10 years of research led by Pilot, Coversafe embeds innovative and 100% natural antimicrobial technology. Its action without leaching or consumption of active ingredients averts any toxicity and guarantees effectiveness and durability. Coversafe acts immediately after application and without loss of efficiency over time. No more need for liquid disinfectants or wipes. Coversafe works continuously for you, guaranteeing the protection of your customers and employees without wasting time. Coversafe, peace of mind for everyone.
Okay, so why should this product interest you? The pandemic obviously is ongoing and is not forecast to end anytime soon, I'm afraid. Universities and colleges have a duty of care to ensure safe working environments for staff and students alike, and to make sure that they're safe as possible. The product, once applied to a surface, provides continuous and ongoing protection for years. And from a commercial aspect, it allows your university to advertise safer environments for a return in September. And everybody wants to maximise a full and ongoing return. Richard and Gethin at Cardiff Met have adopted this and have liaised with the Estates Department and are now rolling out some of the installation of this particular material. So what is the technology behind it? It's something called pulverized pyrolysis. Now, I'm not a chemist, but I can tell you basically how it works. Pulverized pyrolysis is used to manufacture what they call mineral microspheres, which is a patented and exclusive process that was developed by Pilot. These mineral microspheres are called microceramic microspheres and have remarkable antimicrobial properties and are incorporated into a polyolefin film. The microspheres work by catalysis with air humidity, creating a reaction. The reaction destroys microorganisms by oxidization. And this antimicrobial activity is immediate, and the action of the microspheres is unlimited. They're not consumed, so it's ongoing. So what we have here is an example of an image of one of the microspheres under a microscope, and to the right is the material and how it's made up of its layers. So at the bottom, you've got the clear film adhesive. Then you've got the film itself, the polyethylene film, embedded with these microspheres. Then you've got the reaction that's happening with oxidization, and it's bacteria, mold and yeast, and viruses. And it's very important to stress viruses. There's a lot of films that will profess to protect against various things, but if you look under the small print, they're not protecting against viruses. So this is an example of where your very own Cardiff Metropolitan University has installed some of these materials. You've got examples there of a desk space and also capacitive screen on the right-hand side that Richard and Gethin have installed. Let me play you this very quick Benny Hill-like video. So what you can see there is a very capably installed table by Richard and Gethin. And what they effectively did is got a sheet of the film, put a fine layer of water down onto the table. It's wet apply, makes it so much easier. You put it face down, that wets the actual surface, then you flip it over, then you cut it to size. It might be added as well that you put down a label, and labels are available with these rolls of materials underneath the film, which demonstrates that, you know, there's a layer of protection there that you've actually gone to the time and the trouble to install. One other thing worth pointing out is that I mentioned for wet apply, certainly for larger objects, that's very viable. So 300 mil and above, you most definitely want to wet apply it. But for smaller objects like door handles, for instance, and we have door handle packs, we would recommend that you could just dry apply them. This is another example of an installation. So this is the dry application of a door handle. Okay, so that's a good example of how you would conform it onto a less than standard sort of surface. So certainly flat surfaces, very easy to apply, and less than standard surfaces you can also apply it onto as well. Removal, very straightforward. Just a knife, for instance, gets underneath the film. For clean removal, gently pull the film towards you, keeping at an angle, and proceed in small areas. In case of adhesive residues after removal, you can use a normal cleaning fluid to clean, but as mentioned, there is minimal residue left by this type of film. So how does this material come? It's available in large rolls, okay, and a large roll would be 40-90 mil by 30 meters. Comes with application squeegee, the user manual, and then 50 of the labels to certify installation. It's available in converted length, so if you want less than a full roll, for instance, we convert at our facility at Colville in Leicestershire, so you can have as small an amount as 3 meters of it. And again, you get a stickers that go out with the material as well. And then you have door handle packs. Each pack is delivered with 30 sheets, a user manual, and 30 highlighting labels. And finally, if you require any samples, you might want to have a look at the film yourself. You might want to try it, have a look at its properties, for instance. Yeah, we have samples available. Please let us know. We'll be happy to send you some samples out. What is key to this product is documentation, really, test and certification. Coala Coversafe is one of the only films that have been tested specifically with the strain of COVID-19 in a laboratory setting. It was tested at the University of Limoges and has been certified to an ISO standard, so an international standard. Other products make generic claims without any tests whatsoever having been carried out, or any certification whatsoever. So always have a look at how a product is being backed up, because there's no point going to the time and trouble of putting down these type of films unless it's going to be fulfilling your main need, which is to protect you, let's be honest, at this moment in time against COVID-19. And what we have there is an example of some of the test certification from the University of Limoges and some application guides that we have of our own, all freely available. So happy to send those out to you for you to look at. What I wanted to do here is just play a little video again. It's just an example of the testing done behind the scenes of this type of product. Okay, so what you have there is an example of some of the background testing that's been carried out by the manufacturer of the product. So as I mentioned, it not only protects against viruses, but it protects against bacteria as well. So, you know, it will kill E. coli, salmonella, things like that. So obviously things that have got added advantages, you know, in putting it down in your sort of environments as well. So some common questions that I'm asked about Coala Coversafe. Can it be printed? No, it's a clear protective overlaminate. Ink might affect the cleaning properties on the surface. Remember, the active ingredient is on the surface, so you don't want to put a layer over the top of the active ingredients. Can it be used outside? Yes, it can, partially. Its active properties remain, but the film itself can degrade. So we would recommend short-term external use. Can it be used on touch screens? Yes, as you've seen an example of a capacitive screen where absolutely it works fine. And then obviously you've got the actual surface itself protected where many people might be touching the same surface. Is it flame retardant? Unfortunately, no. Due to due to the chemicals that's applied to it to make it food contact safe, it's not compatible with flame retardant chemicals. Can it be used as an overlaminate for graphics and wallpaper? Yes, it's a clear film with a permanent adhesive. So you might have a graphic already, you might have a graphic on a table, you might have a graphic on a wall that might, for whatever reason, get touched. You know, you can add that level of protection. So view it as a laminate, but with all these added protective elements. Does it have to be left 48 hours? In the installation guide, it says leave for 48 hours. No, you don't, but care is required whilst the adhesive wets out and sets. So, you know, obviously a film goes down, it's a little bit prone to damage unless you're careful with it. Can it be used in humid environments? Yes. So, and humid environments such as swimming pool, changing room, bathrooms, but not in direct water contact. And that finishes Coala Coversafe as such. Can I ask whether there's any questions on Coala Coversafe at all?
Justine has asked 2 questions, Mike.
Yes, Les.
Is there a standard cut size sheet? And looking at the door handles, can it wrap over itself so that the cut does not have to be exact?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, it can wrap over itself. Because obviously door handles are not a standard size. There are a variety of different sizes and shapes, for instance. So that's not a problem at all. You're effectively wrapping over yourself, just as long as the surface is on the outside. and there is that one standard size of door handle sheet available. So those packs, it's not available in other sizes as such. We do have a conversion facility, so there is a possibility of us being able to cut to size for you. What I would say is if you've got a large door handle, for instance, might be a bar or something like that, you know, you can use several of these door handle sheets to cover that, and also you can cut down a sheet to size as well to wrap it round. Any other, Les?
Sorry, I'll jump in, Mike. We've had one more come in just now. Are the notice stickers easy to remove?
Sorry, are the stickers easy to remove?
Yeah, I think he's referring to the little notice stickers that go underneath.
Yeah, absolutely. So those would be with a removable adhesive. So they're very easy to remove. So you put them down on the furniture first, then you put the film over the top of that. Then you come to take the film off, and you come to take the sticker off after that. So that will not cause you a problem at all.
Then we've had one further. Can you apply heat to the vinyl when wrapping?
It's a good question. It's a polyolefin film, which is a type of polypropylene. That means that you can only apply very little heat to it without it deforming, for instance. So it's not a conformable film in the same way as cast vinyl is, where it's designed to be heated to high temperatures and it stretches. This one won't do that. For that reason, you know, a lot of the surfaces that it's covering are relatively flat or semi-curved, or you use that sort of technique with the door handle ones where they're effectively cut at the edges, which allows you to wrap it round as well. So there's a few different ways to get round particular problems, but I would say the main areas for use of this product are flat to semi-curved surfaces.
And there was Justin has asked again, I presume that these can be bought separately, so I presume that's the labels. Can they be obtained separately?
Yes, they can. We have labels that we'll happily send out. They're not chargeable as such. So, you know, if you're taking the product and you need some additional labels for whatever reason, then we'll be happy to send them out to you.
And finally, from Stephen McCann, not so much a question, more of a suggestion. But who is best to get the product in front of at the university? Perhaps the health and safety officer, the estate department may be better placed to apply this product. I think that, Richard, you could answer that question because that's what you're doing at the moment, isn't it, at Cardiff Met?
Yeah, I can try because, as you know, we've struggled to get it in, you know, fully rolled out across Cardiff Met. It's gone in bit by bit at the moment, but I've tried all of those people really, health and safety, estates. The problem we've had is if you apply it in one area, you sort of create one area of the university that is cover safe, and then you've potentially got a higher footfall area like reception, for example, that doesn't have any of it. So I personally think it needs to go through the estates department or somebody who's got overall responsibility for the campus, but we've definitely struggled to get the go-ahead on it at that level at the moment, but we are still pushing. But as it stands, it's gone out in Cardiff Met across sort of smaller applications, so tills, copier screens, catering tables, things like that.
Thank you, Richard. A further question's just come back from Justin. On its own, the roll, does it stay flat if they wanted to cut door handle sizes or on a flatbed guillotine? Would you like to answer that, Mike?
Sorry, Les.
I'll repeat. Justin's asked.
Sorry, I did catch that. Yes, the question. Yeah, it does stay flat. Again, probably you might have seen from Richard's time-lapse video onto the table. He'd cut a sheet oversize of the table, and it would stay relatively flat. It's got a liner on it, which helps it to stay flat as well. So you just pull out the length that you require and cut it accordingly. So it hasn't got a great deal of curl on it as such. Would you back me up on that, Richard?
Yeah, it is fairly flat, isn't it? And you could I think you just need to do a little bit of cutting first to get it in there. Interestingly enough, we've cut the roll down to a sort of 700 wide sheet and then fed that through one of our vinyl printing cutters to cut it to the exact size of a copier screen with the sort of rounded corners and things like that. So I would imagine you could just do the same thing and sort of feed it into a guillotine bit by bit.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of suggestions, Mike. Steve McCann would suggest print managers suggest who they best think is placed to deal with this, and basically pass them on to watch the webinar back, because when this recording goes live, then it can be used within universities to talk to the correct people. So that's very good, Steve. I think that's an excellent suggestion.
Yeah, thank you for that. I mean, I must point out that I guess one of the things that we found quite difficult is getting the message to the right people. Obviously, some people have been on furlough, for instance, not everybody's been available. There is a very strong message behind this sort of product. And as I mentioned, the pandemic is not going away anytime soon. It's been forecast, unfortunately, that we're going to be living with this probably, forevermore. So it's a very valid thing. And not only the webinar video, for instance, but we have this technical documentation as well, that once identified the right person within the organisation as such, that we can send information out to them that we'll happily do to back up, obviously, the claims of the product, but, what it can do, for a university and a college as well. So
I think one thing worth mentioning, and the questions just come in from Justin about video links, but you guys have all these videos hosted on YouTube, don't you? So the testing videos and the installation videos and things like that.
Yeah.
And that's something we've sent to our estates team and our health and safety team and things like that. So they're on board with the product. It's mainly a financial decision, really, our end, but those things help get across the message and what it can do.
Yeah, I think certainly if there is interest, we would be happy, obviously, to support anybody by putting together, where this information is and giving that to you so you can present it, in an easier fashion, rather than you going and searching for this information in a variety of sources such as YouTube, for instance. So whether it be a presentation that we might be able to give you, or whether it's some videos or technical documentation, please, come to us on it. We understand, it can be, a difficult thing to explain even. So, this certainly helps to do that.
Further question, Mike. Justin's asked, can we send out the video links separately so that they can use those video links that you've embedded in today's presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. I can either send links to all of the videos, in today's presentation, and additional ones as well, of course. So I guess what we'll do is we'll collate sort of the response after this, and happy to send you, where all of these things can be found, all in one particular area.
That's the end of the questions that we've had so far. Oh, sorry, one more. If we produced our own custom sticker, will it stick over, say, if it was printed on the never tear or cling film? That's from Justin. If we produced our own custom stickers, will it stick over them, say, if it was printed on the never tear or a cling film? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, you could print on something. I would say probably an adhesive sticker is probably what you want to be able to stick it onto, let's say, a table, and then put the film over the top of it. But you could use never tear, and it would certainly go over the top of that. So never tear, might move around a little bit, but there is no problem in basically putting this clear Coala Coversafe film over the top of most things that you might want to print onto. Sorry,
Mike, am I right in saying that you'd much prefer to stick it under the film to retain the sort of property? You wouldn't really...
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Absolutely, yes. So what I'm referring to is the sticker or the never tear or whatever it might be. You put that onto the table, then you put this Coala Coversafe over the top of that, thus keeping the full surface of Coala Coversafe as being your, your protected surface. Great. I think that's probably the the last of the questions for Coala Coversafe. Okay, let me go on to the next range of products that I wanted to discuss. So the second product range allows you to consider diversification. It offers real benefits by means of considerable cost savings to your educational facility or student fraternity by way of refurbishing existing furniture or work environments. So let me explain further. It's called Coala Interior Film. It's a range of self-adhesive films, which we call architectural films, which are designed to prolong and upcycle furniture and walls. Available in 650 different finishes in 8 categories. The most popular of these finishes we call green references. So there's 200 of the 650 that are available on a 3-day lead time. The lesser popular products we call red references, so the other 450 or so, and they have an extended lead time, a higher minimum order quantity, and a surcharge. The 8 categories these various finishes come in are wood, and not surprisingly, wood is the most popular finish. We just think about office furniture, for instance. Marble, solid colours, stone, or stone, metallic, leather, glitter, if you want a particularly nice display surface, and fabric as well. I'm going to play you a quick video to explain a little bit more.
Welcome to the Coala Interior Film Journey. It is us to give something back. As why replace when you can upgrade? Inspired by nature. Interior design. And so much more. It is us to make a change, starting from production. Quality control. Certification. Including a sampling service. Building a professional network with in-house trainings. With an elite, creating a circle of knowledge and experience. And this worldwide. Making the impossible possible. With the help of our marketing, creating a plug-and-play concept. Want to give new life to your spaces? Come and discover Coala Interior Film.
Now, I'm not sure how the audio of that came out, and I just realized that the narrative was in French. So for those non-French speaking people, just explain. So it's a range of products that basically are designed to replace rather than upgrade your existing furniture. It allows you to upcycle expensive furniture and environments, saving time and money. An example of which might be, let's say, a fire door, for instance, which can cost a facility £1,500 to replace. Think of the time and trouble to take it out and all of the wastage involved in that, where it can be refurbished for a fraction of that cost, maybe a couple of £100, with a minimum of disruption and wastage. And that's just one example of many. So the market for renovation within your facilities, and also I would suggest student accommodation as well, is another area where potentially it could serve a real purpose in saving money and creating less wastage. So what does Coala Interior Film comprise of? it's a multi-layered film, composite material, which gives it its thickness, its durability, and often its embossing. So it's not like any normal self-adhesive film where it's typically a flat surface. These films are designed to replicate things such as wood, for instance, or marble effects, and to look very, very realistic indeed. So they are very, very long wearing, robust, into the extent that typically there is a 10-year guarantee on their use. They are polymeric in construction, so they're not cast vinyl, so they're not fully conformable, but they are semi-conformable. And these ones can be heated and often are heated to high temperatures to be able to conform into a variety of different shapes. And typically, they're, as I mentioned, they are thick films, so anywhere between 200 micron and 350 micron. Available in widths, well, typical width of 12-20 millimeters. The robustness is obviously very key to this. It's often been used in hospitality. So there's a number of videos that I'll show you, often being used in hotels, for instance. And you can imagine the amount of use and mishandling that the furniture within those sort of environments gets, and probably not too dissimilar to how educational facilities gets treated as well. So some examples of where films can be used. So, you know, you've got different kinds of environments. Obviously, tables is a key one. You know, cafeterias, but also less obvious ones, such as restrooms, toilets. You can use these films. Then, obviously, for display purposes as well, like glitter obviously is more of a creative material. So there's a lot of different creative finishes that are available. Some more examples of tables, some examples of locker rooms as well, and lifts as well. So, you know, a lot of these environments you find within educational facilities. So, just coming to the 8 collections that these products are available in, these 650 references. So typical size, 1.22 meters by 30 or 50 meters in length, but the green references are available from as little as 5 linear meters and available on 3-day lead time. Some examples of wood. The wood finish, as I mentioned, it is the most popular of finishes. So there's a wide variety of different looks, colors, finishes where wood is concerned. You know, within the green references, those 265 of them are wood finishes. This is an example of an installation to give you an idea of how these products are installed. Well, there's obviously a lot of doors there, but doors are obviously very common in most environments, and not least in the education facilities. And doors are not cheap to replace. It's not surprising that, let's say, hotels has probably been the biggest market for these materials so far, but the market for these films are at its infancy within Europe. They originated, in actual fact, in the Far East, in Korea, where it's a huge market. 300 million pounds, I believe, is spent on these type of films in Korea alone. The reason why a hotel or indeed an education facility might be interested in using these films is it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cleaner. There's no use of taking out a door and disposing it. There's no waste involved. You know, a hotel, you wouldn't have to close a floor while you're refurbing and ripping things out and putting things in, for instance. You know, so you can do these things, apply vinyl relatively silently. No fumes involved that you would get, let's say, from painting a wall or something like that. So, you know, there's lots and lots of advantages, and not least, it's far cheaper to refurbish, you know, a door this way than to replace it completely, because they are not cheap. And the process is, you know, you repair the door, so any imperfections, for instance, you might fill in, and then it's a case of applying the vinyl over the top. There's some tips and tricks to be learned about doing it seamlessly, where really that's the key of it. And we offer some training to actually give you the skills also if you require them. So we have wood. The next one is solid colors. You know, well, there's again lots of examples of where solid colors are being used, but these are not like standard vinyls. As I mentioned, these are tough. They are durable. They are thick films that go onto, let's say, a table that then, you know, is going to be used over and over again. It's going to be scuffed. You know, you're going to have pen on it. You know, it's designed to be very resilient. Leather finishes, you know, that some finishes are going to be more applicable to your environment than others, but there's a lot of creative finishes. For that reason, there are 65 green references in the 200 that I mentioned, and only 10 of leather. Marble, again, yeah, a very interesting material that is being used in a wide variety of environments. Let me just play a quick video where marble is featured as well. Okay, so there was an example of actually leather, the leather finish being used, and also the marble finish. An example really that, of yet another application. The material itself is waterproof, so it can be used in those sort of environments, you know, where you've got a bathroom, for instance, or a shower facility. Again, so just another application that it can be used in. And another thought for you as well, Gethin at Cardiff Met is working on an external job to furnish a bridal shop at the moment, where they're looking to order a marble reference from the green references. And it's an example of an external revenue stream that you should think about. So student accommodation, for instance, you know, or external revenue for your print department, I would suggest, you know, is just, again, another way of offering additional viability really going forward. Metallic, again, very nice, very realistic finish. Glitter, one of the more creative finishes. Natural stone, again, you can think of wall surfaces, pillars, for instance, you know, which would benefit from something like that, you know, where something is looking tired. Yeah, and a study was done, and indeed there is another video where it compares where you are painting something to actually putting a vinyl up like this. And paint, of course, you've got the mess involved with paint and the time it takes to prepare a wall, to actually paint it. You know, you need to get somebody in to do it properly. And even then, it's like prone to scuffing. You know, this is actually, in many respects, a far cheaper, far better way of getting a finish that you would never be able to achieve with painting. So you would not be able to achieve a natural stone effect, for instance, with a standard paint. And then fabric as well. Again, just another example of a finish that you could never possibly achieve with conventional materials. So, as I mentioned, these materials are conformable. They're not cast vinyls, they're high-grade polymerics, effectively. 90% of them, so it's excluding the glitter ones, are thermoformable. Up to 15%, they can be thermoformed up to 15% of their size for installation onto non-flat surfaces. So it stretches quite considerably. And an installer, such as yourself, for instance, you know, is always recommended. This is not something for a home user as such. This is something for somebody who's got skills in handling self-adhesive vinyls. For that reason, training is a key point in the installation. They are conformable films, so you know how you handle potentially a heat gun in assisting you to get around edges and curved surfaces, for instance. And really, the devil is in the detail of these materials. So how they finish seamlessly, you know, how you fold over an edge, how you finish it underneath the table, for instance, all the tips and the tricks. We will be running training courses. There is a lot of training videos that we have available already, but we will be running training courses, obviously, just as soon as we can with regards to the rules on social distancing, for instance, at the moment, either from our facilities, you know, either in Colville, for instance, or at one of our offices, and we've got 12 offices dotted around the country, or potentially we can offer training to you on site as well. You know, we typically work with an industry specialist as such that has all of the skills to impart. I don't know whether any of you have been on one of our wall covering courses, for instance. So somebody like Tom Earthroll, who knows everything about the installation of self-adhesive vinyls, would be somebody that would be able to impart any little additional skills that you would require. An example of the popular products being used by key brands. These products, you know, this is not all of them, but this is an example of how and why the 200 references are chosen to be stocked and be available on this 3-day lead time, if you like, because they're very, very popular. and being used by big brands such as BMW and large hotel chains such as Marriott, for instance, and British Airways, you know, some large names using these materials already because they see the benefits that they can get from using them, and predominantly the cost savings they can make from using them. So key benefits: they're easy to install, clean, attractive, affordable, and ecological. So quality, you know, the materials are really high grade quality vinyls, both in terms of the materials used and the finish, the overall finish that they give, the embossing. You know, these are not ordinary vinyls. It allows you to install quickly, uninterrupted installation without closing operations, so there's no chemicals, no odors, no noise in the installation of these products. Bubble-free installation, so they've got bubble-free liners. So again, a thicker vinyl is typically an easier vinyl to install, and a bubble-free liner again makes it easier still to install without any air being trapped. No noise, no smell, easy to clean and maintain. They're also antibacterial. So we mentioned already the Coala Coversafe having antibacterial properties as well as being able to kill viruses. This product is antibacterial. So again, just by applying this sort of refurbishment vinyl, you're actually making your environment that much safer. It's UV and fire resistant, so all of them are fire resistant, of course, for indoor use. Moisture resistant, benefit from that Euroclass fire standard. They are cost effective. This is probably the key reason why people are using them. Between 50 and 70% cheaper than traditional renovation. So ripping something out, throwing it away, creating that wastage, you know. So that's the strong ecological message behind these products. 10-year warranty against peeling, cracking, and yellowing. So again, these are not low-grade vinyls. These are products that are designed to last for a long time. And as I mentioned, a very strong message today, sort of going forward, is the green message. So, you know, we all want a healthier, more sustainable future. So these products are creating less wastage, and that's a really strong message. How can we support you? Well, we have swatches and we have samples that are available. So we're happy to send these out to you. So you've got an interest in these. The one that I would particularly suggest is the middle one here, the Maxi Swatch pack, which represents the 200 green references that are freely available on a 3-day lead time. So if you select one of these, you know you can get as little as 5 linear meters of it, you know, within 3 days sent to you. And it predominantly has, you know, let's say 65 references in wood, and then you have the other ranges of those eight different categories available in there. So a lot of different finishes to be able to choose what is the most applicable for you. So what I would say is there that if you do have this interest, please let us know, you know, and we will send you out, you know, a swatch, or if there's a particular reference, again, A5 references are available. You might be able to just select, you know, which one you want, and we will send a larger version out to you directly as well. And as mentioned, an assurance of the quality of these materials is that they're being used by such big brands, and they're being used for the refurbishment properties, the quality of the finishes, and the fact that they really do save them money. You know, it is surprising to me that they're not being used more in educational facilities. You know, money is at a premium, costs are at a premium, you know, and you have a lot of furniture and table and door space, you know, within these sort of environments. That wraps up Coala interior film. Can I quickly invite any questions on the interior film, please?
There's been a question from Lynn Atkin. How long do you think it would take for a member of the team to be fully trained and fully confident to undertake the installation work, Mike?
That's a very good question, Lynn. we work with the manufacturer of this product, and they typically run themselves a 2-day course to become a certified sort of installer, if you like. Now that's typically probably taking somebody that's got skills already and giving them the tips and the tricks. So what I would say is that you do have a lot of skills already, typically within a print department. You know, it's just learning those finishing tips and tricks. So, you know, how would you approach a door? How would you approach a table? You know, whether it's square, whether it's round, you know, things like that. So what I would say is, you know, certainly from a training session that we would run, you would have skills to go, you know, within a day. You know, probably 2 days would certainly be preferable, but a day to 2 days is the answer. Any other questions, Les?
I'll pick up another one. We've had 2 essentially asking about the removal. Is it easy to remove, and how is the product removed?
Again, a good question. Yeah, I mean, it is easy to remove. It goes down and it will stay down. I would call it a semi-permanent adhesive that is going down. And typically, because it is a thick film, it will, you know, pull off. What people will say is typically, you know, in the same way that you would apply it, you know, potentially with a heat gun, what aids its removal is also a little bit of heat applied as well. So, you know, the recommendation would be use a heat gun where necessary, not necessarily all your removal. So if you're removing it from a table, for instance, you take it off the edge and you'll be able to peel it off. It's not going to rip. It's a very thick material and it should come away. There might be a slight amount of residue that you would use a typical alcohol cleaner just to remove from it as well.
That's all the questions that are on so far. Oh, no, Darren Lewis has just come up. This looks great, good for renovating corridors, etc., entire buildings. Again, maybe one for the Estates Department. Because obviously...
Yeah, indeed, yeah. I think it's one of those sort of things about how proactive you can be as a print department, really. Clearly, there are other people and other departments involved in the process. You know, I think it's one of those ones that, you know, we will happily give you all the tools, the swatches, you know, the videos, things like that, the presentation, for instance. You know, if you want to make a case to, you know, an estates department, for instance, you know, but clearly more departments within large organisations are always involved. And I would say the reasons why these films are not particularly that well known is because they are at their relative infancy. But, you know, you can see for yourself the huge advantages you have of using them rather than just ripping out and replacing or conventionally painting your interiors, for instance. So they're highly protective, they're highly cost-effective ways of refurbishing your environments. And gosh, in the university and education sectors, you've got large environments to look after.
And Darren carried on to say that it may need us to overcome the worries that people had if they remembered products like Fablon. Obviously, Fablon was a very thin self-adhesive vinyl in the old days that people used to use on kitchen cupboards.
Right. Okay. Well, that's even before my time, so that must be old. So, well, I'm not very familiar with it. But yeah, there's always sort of preconceptions, for instance. But you know, again, things like swatches, you know, help to let people understand what the product is. You know, you'll be able to see for yourself on the swatch. It's a very tactile product. You know, these films are not thin. You know, they're there to be robust and to provide a surface that would look like a natural wood, for instance. So there is no issues with regards to, you know, their longevity. You know, brickwork, for instance, as well, you know, it is another one which it can replicate.
A good one, yeah. Justin said, could we come round and train him at his house because he wants to sort out his kitchen and bathroom?
Well, absolutely. I've been asked that many times before, and unfortunately, I'm not the right person to ask. But you know, somebody like Tom Earthroll is one of our trainers. You know, who's got all of the skills. You know, that's one of the things that we do offer, and it's one of the things that attracted me to Antalis. Was, you know, we offer some really good value added things, you know, at Antalis, and one of them is training facilities, you know, to the industry of which you are part of. So whether you use it in your work environment, or whether you want to use it in your home environment, you can do, of course. Is that everything, Richard, Les?
I think so, Mike. Yes.
Well, look, let me thank everybody for your time and patience in going through these slides. I hope that there's interest in what I've had to say. I certainly think that there's great opportunity within the education sector for these type of materials, and we've got many more. We've just launched a whole range of environmentally friendly materials as well, which will also interest you, that perhaps we could talk to you about going forward as well. Richard, Les, would you like to say anything else at all?
Yes, I was just going to say and touch on the base with the environmental products. I've ordered up environmental sample boxes for my customers, and I'll be bringing one round to you, Richard. Literally, it's a box that contains every single vinyl, every single board that we actually classify as either being made from recycled or easily recycled. So that will be the next stage for all university print rooms to actually only use recyclable or recycled products within their print rooms. Richard, would you like to say anything?
I think the only thing to add is, everyone's got a print room, haven't they? And that's always been the starting point for us, is, covering the desks in the print room, putting the Coversafe on the copier screens, making our own environment safe and appealing, and it becomes a sort of proof of concept then, and a living sample, really. So I see we had a few questions about application and sort of confidence in application and things like that. So those things give you confidence, because you're using those desks every day then, and you can see, yes, it works, or it doesn't work, or that's where we could have maybe changed the process we're using and things like that. So I'd encourage everyone to do that, really. Just look at their own space and try and use it in that place in the first instance, and go from there, really.
Sorry, Richard, I was going to say, with the questions and answers, what we'll do, we'll put them all together, and we'll send out, those people that ask questions, we'll send out the answers so that you all will share in the responses, okay? I can only say thank you very much for everybody joining, those that actively took part and asked questions. And I look forward to doing something like this again. Both myself and Mike are here to offer advice. A couple of the attendees have asked for their local reps to get in contact, so we'll make sure that happens. So you'll be expecting somebody to knock on your door, or virtually, I should say, at least. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Anything else, Mike, that you'd like to add?
No, I'm not entirely sure that I introduced myself at the beginning, so let me just say this. My name is Mike Collins, and I'm one of the product managers for Antalis visual communications team as such. So once again, if you have any questions or any technical sort of questions that you might have, I'm at hand as well as Les. Also, Les will pass on my email address, for instance, also. So please feel free to ask us any questions about the products that you've seen today, or indeed any of the products that Les has mentioned, that are coming through the grapevine, sort of the green rated products that we have as well. So thank you very much for your time.
Excellent. But as I say, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Richard, for your inputs and your examples and videos that you supplied us, and hope to see you all again. Cheers.
Yeah.